Chapter 649. What nonsense is this? The person in charge, you say? This place is no stage for a green youth like you, a mere commoner. If you have lost your mind, step down gracefully. He is a baron now. The reaction to Yudhar, who stood alone before the protesting crowd filled the front of the branch, was explosively heated. Not a single soul believed in Yudhar's words. The consensus was that a madman had appeared spouting nonsense. Unfazed by the numerous jeers and protests, Yudhar didn't even blink. As he slightly turned his gaze, Kurga, meeting his eyes, opened his mouth and shouted loudly. This man here is indeed the person in charge of the cavalry. Haven't you all been clamoring for the person in charge to come forward? If so, what seems to be the problem? What? The crowd, initially like a swarm of bees with their cheers, recoiled slightly at Kurga's words. He was somewhat familiar to them, and he was properly clad in the cavalry uniform. But soon after, the brief silence was shattered by roars twice as loud as before. If he really is from the cavalry, it's even more ludicrous. After all the disregard, is this young man, swollen with arrogance, their answer, a mere scapegoat? The emperor's direct subordinates are such a disgrace. Indeed, if he truly is from the cavalry, then present some evidence. His attire looks like it's come from nowhere. What are we supposed to believe? Since when did the cavalry commander have such filthy black hair? I have never heard of Duke Paleta's hair turning black. ... Yudhir intently watched the faces of the loudest agitators. As expected, the three individuals Kurga had pointed out were the main instigators. They seemed to think that this black-haired youth would soon burst into tears and retreat, overwhelmed by the barrage of insults. But Yudhir did the exact opposite. Laughing? In the midst of silence, Yudhir silently lifted the corners of his lips into a smile. Well, obviously I'm also laughing. These idiots. His eyes weren't smiling at all, but the pale thin lips stretched into a long, eerie grin made several people weakly sense doubt and unease at that moment. If you don't believe my words, I have no choice but to prove it. I am a member of the cavalry and person in charge worthy of dialogue. With those words, Yudhir suddenly stepped forward, lightly stomping his foot on the ground. The seemingly light step, yet the repercussion resonated throughout the vicinity. The vibration, starting from Yudhar's foot, spread far and wide, causing buildings to shiver as if struck by an earthquake, and branches from the trees along the walls to break and fall. The inevitable result was the people unable to stand on the trembling ground, screaming and sprawling. Good heavens, save us! Mercy! After a wave of various screams swept through, those covered in dirt lifted their heads, their faces smeared with terror. Yudhir, standing firmly and upright, quietly tilted his head and asked, Just now I saw a centipede crawling at my feet, and for safety I caught it. Is this level of power sufficient to converse with you, or is it still inadequate? Indeed, beneath Yudhir's foot lay a flattened centipede corpse, but that was just an excuse. Everyone with eyes could tell that what the seemingly calm madman really wanted to flatten was not the centipede, but the protesters present. With eyes as dark and ominous as the abyss, Yudhir swept his gaze over everyone's faces, indifferent as if he were merely looking at the crushed bug under his foot. The chilling intensity of his stare sent shivers down the spines of several onlookers. Where in the world did this madman come from? You? No. Who exactly are you? How can someone like you? A man dressed in a fine administrative uniform, his voice trembling, tried to retreat, shifting uneasily after locking eyes with Yudhir. Yudhir looked down at him with a cold detachment and introduced himself. I am Yudhir Ale, the assistant to the commander of the cavalry. In truth, this conversation should have taken place when Yudhir first stepped forward. It was remarkable how, initially, not a single question was asked, not even his name was inquired, until they experienced his fiery display. Uther chose not to point out their sudden politeness, typical of such people. The crowd might have been frightened by Uther's display of power, but it wasn't the sole reason for their newfound respect. The real reason they were cowering was Uther's unabashed audacity even after such a wild act. In their minds, only a truly high ranking person could behave so recklessly and still remain impudent. It seemed they only pretended to listen and treat someone as an equal after being shown their place. But still, seeing them all prostrate like this is quite a sight. Unbeknownst to them, Duke Paleta, the leader of the cavalry, Kishir, was also standing among them. Uther allowed a cold smile to slip as he observed those who had knelt before Kishir. That smile sent a chill through the protesters, draining them of the courage to speak further. Now then, the one in the red administrative robe, the one beside in the green mage's robe, and over here in the grey clothes. It seems we might now be able to have a proper conversation. What do you think? With that, the entire confrontation came to an end. Uther confidently led the three stunned individuals into the branch, his tone shifting to a more formal register as soon as the situation was resolved. This change only heightened the protesters' sense of dread. Please, take a seat over here. Kurga, showing some quick thinking, led the three to a space for them to sit side by side. Anticipating that Uther would sit across from them, they tensed up. But their confusion grew when a man with a vague appearance and brown hair took his seat before Uther. Who is he? Throughout the commotion caused by Uther, this man had simply stood back, arms crossed, watching. Seemingly unimportant, his sudden forwardness was disconcerting. Is he also a member of the cavalry or someone else entirely? Regardless of whether they surreptitiously glanced or wondered about the identity of Kishir, who had altered his appearance, Uther didn't sit until Kishir had comfortably found his place. Only then did Kishir take his seat beside him. As soon as he sat, the atmosphere froze over once again, like a lake in the northern winter. Before we begin, I have already introduced myself. Now, I would like to hear each of your names. Ordinarily, a few pleasantries would be exchanged before starting a conversation. But Uther had no intention of extending such courtesies. His cold demeanor in demanding their names first left the three protesters unable to hide their anger. However, perhaps still vividly recalling the earthquake-like experience, they promptly opened their mouths to speak. The man in the administrative robe was a 7th rank official from Charloin, while the mage belonged to the Sapphire Mage Union, the largest mage coalition in the south. The remaining individual was from a trading guild that had been conducting business in Charloin for generations, seemingly holding some significant position in the city's overall merchants association. They tried to emphasize their importance, hoping to intimidate Uther slightly. But they couldn't have imagined that Uther had already dismissed their names from his mind upon hearing them. The only thing Uther retained was the sliver of useful information hidden within their grandiose introductions. As expected, all three have connections with the nobles opposing the emperor. They must have motivated by the anticipation of future benefits should this endeavor succeed. Not everyone who had come to protest was driven by such motives. Uther would have bet that many believed they were genuinely protecting the safety of Charloin. It was these individuals who wouldn't normally have stepped forward, who were incited by those seeking political gain, the very voices who had taken it upon themselves to lead the cause. In essence, if these instigators were dealt with, the rest of the problem would likely resolve itself. Now, let's deal with them one by one. So, what exactly are your demands? Uther asked impassively, causing each of the three to furrow their brows. The mage in the robe was the first to clear his throat and speak up. Don't you understand, even after seeing all this, we cannot tolerate a dangerous group like the cavalry entering Charloin, the largest city in the south. Why must you establish a branch in Charloin? Just a bit further south, there are suitable areas like Meklara. You're right, agreed the official. Many administrators in Charleroi share the same concern. Even though the High Minister has recommended cooperation, it overlooks the unique characteristics of our region. Moreover, the transaction regarding this building intended for the branch was far from clean. Lord Guiltherme, a third-rank official, demands clarification and adjustment. Lastly, the merchant added his piece. Charlemagne is trembling with anxiety due to the awakeners coming for your assessment or whatever it is. The trading guilds have suffered significant business losses. Shouldn't the cavalry take responsibility for this? What the fuck are they talking about? If there are more people, wouldn't they actually sell more stuff in the merchant guild? These people are just in the shady businesses, aren't they? Their statements were lengthy, but could be summarized succinctly. Such nonsense, drawn out so long. Either, with an expressionless face, turned to look at Kurga. Kurga? Huh? Yeah. It seems we will need to write down and organize these demands. Could you bring some paper? Paper? Okay. Kurga, slightly puzzled, brought over the paper, which was then placed on the long table. The pen is here, so you can write with this. It's alright, I have a pen here. He then produced a pen from his pocket. At that moment, the official's eyes twitched nervously. What's that? Oh, it's a pen he got as a gift.